What is going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be ranking every single Big Ten quarterback from worst to best. I'm going to project who the starter for each of these Big Ten teams will be, and I will rank these quarterbacks. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. At number 18, I have Maryland quarterback Justin Martin. They also have true freshman Malik Washington to watch out for. They will have a battle going this offseason. But Justin Martin has the edge in experience, and he held up well. He went 22 for 30 with over 150 yards and a score in a road start last year for UCLA at Penn State last season. So he should be an okay transfer for this team, but I don't expect him to be a great quarterback. Maryland has some work to do. And I do have Justin Martin at number 18. Another team that I'm not exactly sure who the quarterback will be is Minnesota. But at number 17, I do have Minnesota quarterback Drake Lindsey. Lindsey is expected to take over as Minnesota starter after a redshirt year behind Max Brosmer in 2024. He played in 3 games and completed 4 of his 5 pass attempts for 50 yards and a score. He's got some decent expectations, but he will also be pushed by the Georgia Tech transfer quarterback Zach Pyron. So he might not actually be that starter next year, but regardless, I do have Drake Lindsey at number 17 for Minnesota. At number 16, I have Purdue quarterback Malachi Singleton. Singleton is a former 4-star prospect in the 2023 recruiting class. He transferred from Arkansas to Purdue this offseason. And he did show some intriguing potential in limited snaps last year. He completed 21 of 28 throws for over 350 yards and a touchdown. And he also added 74 rushing yards on 17 carries, so he should be a solid dual threat option for Purdue. Purdue has a lot of work to do, but I do think Barry Odom will work well with this quarterback, Malachi Singleton. Don't be surprised if Singleton ends up higher on this ranking, but I have him at number 16 for now. At number 15, I have Rutgers quarterback Athan Kaliakmanis. He did provide a bit of a boost to that Rutgers offense in 2024, but he still has a ton of work to do improving his passing game. Kaliakmanis threw for 2,600 yards and 18 touchdowns last season. And Rutgers did have improvement at quarterback play. He completed 53% of his passes, but there's still some work to do, and he's really not that talented of a quarterback. And I only have him at number 15, but I'm interested to see how big of a step forward he can take in 2025. At number 14, I have the transfer portal quarterback Billy Edwards Jr., who went to Wisconsin. Edwards Jr. was a solid quarterback for Maryland in 2024. He had 2,800 yards passing and 15 touchdowns with also 5 rushing touchdowns. He had over 250 passing yards per contest, and he ranked second in the Big Ten in passing yards per game. But he's still got a lot of work to do at quarterback, and Wisconsin has struggled to find good quarterback play over the last few years with Luke Fickell as the head coach. I think Billy Edwards Jr. will be okay, but I can't rank him any higher. I only have him at number 14. At number 15, I have UCLA transfer portal quarterback Joey Aguilar. I think Aguilar could fit into that UCLA offensive system pretty well. I think he will be a solid quarterback for UCLA. He's got good experience. He was a solid group of 5 quarterback at App State. He threw for 6,700 yards, 56 touchdowns, and 25 appearances. He will have to clean up the mistakes, though, because he had 24 interceptions in that time. He will have to adjust to a higher level of play in the Big Ten, but I do think UCLA has some solid offensive upside. I think Joey Aguilar will be a solid quarterback. I have him at number 13. At number 12, I have Preston Stone, Northwestern quarterback. He got beat out at SMU by Kevin Jennings last year, but Preston Stone is a good quarterback and he's very experienced. He ranked among the top quarterbacks in the group of 5 2 years ago. He threw for over 3,000 yards and 28 touchdowns at SMU. But he did have a late season leg injury that ended his 2023 season, and he did not start in 2024. He was replaced by Kevin Jennings. But he's had a full year to recover from his leg injury, and I think he will be a boost to that Northwestern offense for sure. This will be Northwestern's best quarterback in a while. And I do have Preston Stone at number 12. I think he'll fit solid into that Northwestern system. Iowa picked up a quarterback with massive potential, and at number 11, I have Iowa quarterback Mark Gronowski. He's one of the top transfer portal quarterbacks for 2025 and a huge addition to the Iowa offense that has struggled to find good quarterback play. This is a guy that has passed for 10,000 career yards and 93 touchdowns. He's ran for over 1,500 yards and 37 touchdowns in 55 appearances at South Dakota State. He will miss spring practice for Iowa due to injury, and he's going to have to adapt to some tough Big Ten football. These are some good defenses. So I'm not going to rank him much higher. I think he could be a lot higher on this ranking. But for now, I'm only ranking him at number 11. I think he'll be good, but he's going to have to go through some adversity. Iowa has some issues on offense, and this is going to be a different type of play from Mark Gronowski. But I do have Mark Gronowski at number 11. At number 10, I have Michigan State quarterback Aiden Childs. He followed Coach Jonathan Smith from Oregon State to Michigan State. And in 2024, he really had an up and down season. He ranked 11th in the Big Ten in passing yards per game and quarterback rating. Turnovers were a big problem, but he did show improvement in the second half of 2024, and he also connected on 4 completions of 40-plus yards in conference action. This is a young, talented quarterback. He has a lot of athleticism, and I expect him to take another step forward next year. Watch out for Aiden Childs. I have him at number 10. At number 9, I have USC quarterback Jayden Maiava. He became the starting quarterback for USC in their final 4 games. He passed for 11 touchdowns and 1,100 yards in that span. He also had a great season at UNLV a few years back, so he's got experience. Lincoln Riley has a great track record with quarterbacks and producing stars at quarterback. I think Jayden Maiava will be good next year, but he's going to need help from his receivers. I do have him at number 9. At number 8, I have Damon Williams, the Washington quarterback. I think he's actually one of the most underrated and slept on quarterbacks in the nation right now. He was the backup to Will Rogers last season, but he really showed flashes near the end of last season. He's very athletic. They did lose to Louisville in the bowl game, but in that bowl game, he threw for 374 yards and 4 touchdowns. And he also ran for 48 yards and a touchdown on the ground. And with a full offseason to develop as the starter under head coach Jedd Fisch, I think Damon Williams has breakout potential. I think he's a very talented quarterback, and I do have him at number 8. At number 7, I have Bryce Underwood for Michigan. I think he's going to be a great quarterback right away. He's the number 1 recruit in the 2025 recruiting class, and he's the number 1 on-3 player in a long time. This is a guy that I'm expecting to make a day 1 impact, kind of like Jeremiah Smith. He's definitely a future star for Michigan. He has the all-around physical talent. The question is, how fast will he develop? Because Michigan has some questions at offense and at wide receiver. But I'm just really high on Bryce Underwood. I think he's going to be a great college quarterback. I have him at number 7. I think he'll have a really good first year for Michigan. At number 6, I have another 5-star quarterback in Dylan Raiola. He should take a big step forward in year 2. There was so much pressure on him as a 5-star true freshman for Nebraska. He did have his ups and downs, but he had an okay year. He did flash some big-time potential. He threw for 2,800 yards, 13 touchdowns with 13 starts. Nebraska has added some great receivers through the portal, and with another offseason to develop under the new offensive coordinator, Dana Holgorsen, I think Dylan Raiola has massive potential, and he's primed to be one of the top quarterbacks in the Big Ten. And right now, I do have him at number 6. At number 5, I have the veteran quarterback, Luke Altmaier for Illinois. Altmaier took a huge step forward in his second year at Illinois, and he led the way for that team to win 10 games. He threw for 2,700 yards, 22 touchdowns, and he also ran for 200 yards and 4 scores on the ground. He ranked 3rd among Big Ten signal callers in completions of 40-plus yards with 10, and he was 6th in quarterback rating with a 144.4 rating. He's just an all-around solid quarterback. He's not super talented, but he gets the job done, and I expect him to take another leap next season. Illinois returns a lot of production, and they return a leader at quarterback, a very good leader in Luke Altmaier. I have him at number 5. At number 4, I'm expecting Indiana to have a top quarterback again. I have Fernando Mendoza. Last year, it was Curtis Wark. They strived on offense with them at quarterback. And honestly, I think Fernando Mendoza, the transfer from Cal, will be just as good or even better than Curtis Wark. Fernando Mendoza is a young, talented quarterback, and he's been super consistent throughout his college career. He has a completion percentage of 66.5 in his career. He's also passed for 4,700 yards. In just 2 years at California, he showed some very good things. Before, he was working with Justin Wilcox, but now he's working with a very good head coach in Curt Cignetti. I expect Fernando Mendoza to be one of the top quarterbacks in the Big Ten and maybe a dark horse for the Heisman Trophy. I have high expectations for him, and I have him at number 4. At number 3, I have 5-star quarterback Julian Sayin. He's going to have a high-powered offense with the best player in college football in 2025. Julian Sayin was the number 20 prospect by 24/7 Sports in the 2025 recruiting class. He's got massive potential and he's a highly coveted recruit. I think he'll be just fine in that Ohio State offense. They are loaded with talent. Julian Sayin is a 5-star quarterback. I think he'll fit in right away. I have him at number 3. I think same could be said about Oregon quarterback Dante Moore. He's a former 5-star, and he's also got some experience under his belt. He played a full year at UCLA for a 4-8 team. He showed some flashes, but he was a bit inconsistent. But he's had time to learn under that offensive system at Oregon and learn behind Dillon Gabriel. He was the number 4 prospect in 2023. I think he's going to take this Oregon offense to big heights in 2025. Oregon hasn't had a 5-star quarterback in quite a while. I think Dante Moore is going to break out in 2025. He's poised for a big year. And I do have him at number 2. And at number 1, I'm just going to keep it simple. I have Penn State quarterback Drew Allar. He raised his game to another level in 2024 for Penn State. And they nearly went to the national championship game last season. And they return a veteran at quarterback in Drew Allar. He showed massive improvement over the last couple of years, and Andy Kotelnicki is one of the top OCs in the country. I expect another great year for development in Drew Allar's game. They added 2 potential impact transfers at wide receiver. I do think Drew Allar is the best returning quarterback in the Big Ten, and I do have him at number 1. But anyways, that is going to do it for my Big Ten quarterback power rankings for 2025. You guys let me know what you agree with down in the comments below, and how would your ranking look different from mine. But let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing and also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.